What's up, everybody? It's waba, and I wanted to take a little bit of time to make a video kind of about pricing overall. It's something that I've thought about doing for a while. I've done it a little bit here and there, but I figure with so many players who are going to be new, like right now, and then in the next, within the next year, because Path of Exile is always growing, I figure I might as well just do this. So, trading in Path of Exile is a pretty big deal. Trading could afford you a lot of power for your character, whether you be it in a traditional league or in a hardcore league. Yeah, it's pretty good. So obviously, not a thing for solo self-found, and that's definitely a way that you can't play this game. I find myself not actually really enjoying solo self-found because I like trading items and like pricing items and kind of having that actual interaction over good items. I'm not talking about the 1 chaos, 2 chaos sales that people kind of think about most of the time with trading. I'm talking about like actual good items where there is haggling involved because both parties know of an item's value for a build or whatever. So in this video, I'm going to go over some boots that I have found in Path of Exile. Some of them are pretty good. I have 4 pairs. 2 of them are pretty good, and 2 of them are okay. So, yeah. And the other thing too is I feel like if we could get more players to be actually engaged with trading and pricing things appropriately and selling things, not only buying things at good prices or at a good value for themselves, but also for the buyer. But if you could buy things, then you could sell things, and the more people that actually make currency through trading and understanding items, the better, because that just means more people will be trading. And as people generate more currency, through trading, then they will have more currency to actually trade. So let's go ahead and go into it. These are going to be the first couple of boots. Actually, I'll go ahead and start with this this pair right here. This is probably these 2 boots are about on the same tier, I would say. Now, this pair of boots has a prefix open, so it could get a life roll on it. It's level 55, so it's like not that good. It's not low enough level for that someone would want to use. However, since it has 2 good resists on it and 20% movement speed, which is what I would say is like kind of the minimum you'd want on some rare boots, and as a prefix open, they're pretty good to sell. Just to for someone to like their first pair of boots that they could get pretty early, middle of part 2, and then they could actually get to maps with them, and they would last quite a long time. So let's just go ahead and price these first. We're going to go to poe.trade, going to put in boots, and then I'm going to do total elemental resistances, and since that is a 39 roll and a 38 roll, I'm just going to put in 70 here. And that just allows you to essentially get 2 rolls that are 35% for the boots. And then let's do movement speed. These, and to be honest, like I think that these boots are actually pretty easy to price. I would probably just price them at like 2 or 3 chaos, but I'm just going off of this right now. So these boots are a little bit, they're about the same. The resists are, oh my god, I'm going to mute Discord. I don't know what's going on with Discord right now. Okay, so there's a lot of boots here. None of them really have life on them. Even like 1 fuse, I think this is a pretty good deal. The only reason why I would, like price them at 2 or 3 chaos is because it's just not really worth my time. If I'm going to sell this at 1 fuse, then it's not worth my time at all. I would rather price it at 2 or 3 chaos, because then if they don't sell, whatever, I have an extra pair of boots. But if they do, then someone's just going to buy them. yeah, all these are like pretty similar. So even 2 or 3 chaos is probably a little high, but I'm just gonna say for my purposes, 2 chaos, because you could get a life roll on them, and they're whatever. And I'm gonna be putting these in a stash tab called priced, and then we will list this. So, and I'll put it as negotiable just in case somebody, you know, they want them for whatever reason. The resists are pretty good on them. The 39 cold, 38 lightning, pretty solid. And they have quite a bit of evasion on them. Not a lot, but they're good enough. So, on from that. So, these boots are pretty much similar, except that they have a hybrid. This has a prefix and a suffix open. It has a decent strength roll, which not only will that give strength if you need it, but also give you life, so it will be good for any life build. But that armor and life roll is a hybrid roll, so you could put life on this as well, and it has 25% movement speed. So realistically, they're about the same as these, except that now when I search these, this is what I'm going to do. Instead of having that resist, I'm going to make this 25, and I'm going to make this life. And then I will just say, so it's got 20 life on that one hybrid roll. You could get another, let's just say 40 from Haku. I like to be conservative on that. And then another 20 from the strength. So looking at 80, oh, let's just say 70 life. And then we will add elemental resistance. Now the difference here is, since we only have one elemental resist, I'm actually just going to go sudo number elemental resist, and this means that the total number of resist on an item. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'll just say maximum of 1. Maximum of 1, so you don't get something that has 2 resist on it, because that will kind of mess up your pricing. And again, about the same. These are actually kind of better, I would say, because this already has the life, and you could put another, potentially put another suffix on here, depending on the rarity. But yeah, a lot of people are selling things for alks right now because alks are valuable. But so let's just go ahead and say, I'll just do 2 chaos again. So both of these pretty normal pairs of boots. Maybe you could sell them, maybe you don't. If you don't sell them, then they just become backup pairs. These next 2 pairs of boots, though, are pretty good. So let's start with this one. So these boots have over 100 life on them. They have they have a suffix open, which again you could see by holding Alt down, as long as you have advanced mod options enabled in your interface. They have the hybrid roll, they have the life roll, and they have a 25 movement speed roll with 2 resists on them. So you could put another suffix on here. You can put strength on here. You could put any attribute that you might need, or you could just put another resist on here. So that could actually make pricing these a little weird, because honestly, you kind of should compare them to boots with as much resist as these could potentially get. But we're not. I'm just saying, like, it could make it a little weird. So let's go ahead and go back to this tab. So this time, I'm going to make the life minimum 90, because I want to look at items that are in that range, okay? And then here, I'm going to go back to elemental resistances, the percentage total. And I'm going to put down 70, because if you were to put a suffix on there, if you were to craft, master craft a resist on there, they'd have over 70 resist. So we'll go ahead and search. And these boots are already drastically better, but there's some key points here. So they have a lot more life than all of these, and these go up in value quite a bit. You know, their first pair, your cheapest, is at 13. It goes down 20, blah, 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 blah. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to sort by life. Now, since, and this is the other thing that makes it kind of potentially difficult for pricing, since when we priced it and we put in those mods, we put in 70 resist, the boots that we have actually don't come up when you search that, because they don't have that crafted resist on there. So we will go ahead and do 50. Then our boots should come up. That's just so you could get an idea of the prices of the other of the boots that are similar resist wise. So these boots right here are pretty similar. They have a suffix open, so you can get more resist on here, and they have the implicit of resist on here from this base type, the two-tone base type. Now, this is like good and bad, because a lot of times people will want boot enchants, and they're pretty popular and really powerful, more powerful than the resist that you would get. You would rather have the boot enchant than this resist. So these are priced at 120 chaos, and they've been listed for a week. So I don't really think 120 chaos is really appropriate. Now we have another pair, pretty similar in the life. However, ours could potentially have more resist. This is at 35 chaos. This is listed at two exalts. This is actually, I would say, a little much. I would probably say these are probably worth 1 exalt. People try to get as much as they can. It's not really too big of a deal, as long as they're open to haggling. But actually, you can't see mine because mine are in a tab that's actually listed right now. So we'll go ahead and do this, and we will refresh it real quick. So total life. It might take a minute, but ours are essentially somewhere between these top 3, because not only do they have good resist on them regardless of getting that craft, but you could also put, strength, you could put dex, you could do a lot with that suffix. And people, especially the people who will actually like trade for an item or haggle with an item, they generally know what they're doing. They know what they're looking for. So they will search in a way to see if they could find ones with a suffix open. Like this one would be a good example. Well, even though I think this one is like grossly overpriced, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, so those boots, let's try to refresh again and see if it finally comes up. I think those boots, again, somewhere in this 120 chaos, or this 2 exalt, or 35 chaos to 120 chaos range. And I am going to put them at 50 chaos. I think 50 chaos is like pretty fair because they're flexible. It might be a little much, but again, I'm not opposed to someone haggling with me. And for that reason, I'll put negotiable price. Because I'm okay with somebody, offering me 40 chaos, and then maybe I'll be like, oh, well, I don't know, that's a little low. I'm okay with that, but I think 50 chaos for these are pretty fair. And yeah. So these are probably the most valuable boots that I have. The next pair of boots that I have are good, and I've had an offer on them. They're not as valuable as this, but I got lowballed on these. I was offered 3 chaos for these, and these boots are potentially a little difficult to price because of a few things. One, whenever people look for items in Path of Exile, say you're looking for boots, and you say, I want 30 movement speed and I want at least 80 life. Well, these boots would give you that. They say, I want 30 movement speed, I want 80 life, and I just want some resist. These boots will come up. However, they may think like, okay, well, I don't care about the mana. And for that reason, to them, these boots are only worth, maybe 10 chaos. But you have to consider the mana. And I don't think it's really good to ever sit there, especially, it's on some stats, it's fine. Some builds don't want, trying to think of the stats some builds don't want, but some builds do. Just for example, the new affixes that give you higher life regen values. There might be some builds that want them. that want those rolls. It's going to be very rare now because the meta doesn't really utilize those flat life regen rolls on pieces of gear. But mana is something that a lot of builds would use right now in this meta because of Mind Over Matter, because there are a lot of builds that utilize Mind Over Matter and use that as a primary form of defense. So these boots actually have a higher effective health pool for it, or if they add more effective health pool than, you know, some people might think otherwise. So let's go ahead and price these. Again, I don't think that they are worth as much as these, but I did get lowballed on them earlier at 3 chaos, which is pretty insane, especially considering that they have 30% movement speed. So, and I'll show you what I mean in terms of like the value of the boots. So we could go ahead and put 50 resist on these. They have about 50 resist. So if we search this right now with 30 movement speed and 80 life, and then we sort it, you could see that it starts really, really low. You can see that these are 5 chaos, and it goes up. And the thing is, and there are 61 results here. So if you wanted to sell these boots as quickly as possible, you would, you know, want to price them according to this, because you can't get any more stats on them, so you can't craft on them. So you would probably want to sell them for like 8 chaos, right? Because then people are going to see them like right around here. However, let's add the mana into it. And that's what makes these boots like it makes these boots unique. Because then if you add the mana in here, you get far fewer results. And this will actually come up. Right around here, and these are, again, these are 8 chaos. I don't know if I said exalts earlier, I'm sorry, but these right here, and again, your boots aren't as good as these, but these are listed for 70 chaos. So if somebody is looking for mana and they want some of these other things, like maybe they want life but they also want strength, right? These boots are only getting mana because of the intelligence. So let's just say you're like, okay, well, I want 30 mana. It's going to be a low roll, but it's fine. You have even fewer results. And I think these boots are a little underpriced, to be completely honest. But either way, you could see that a chaos, or an offer of 3 chaos for those boots is kind of a low ball. So I would say, because these actually have a good mana roll on them and they have strength on them, I'm gonna price these at, let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and say 25 chaos. Again, negotiable price. Now the difficult thing about doing like kind of these like price checking videos is that you don't know if your item's gonna sell. You know, most of the time when I price items like this, you know, that are higher, I sell more of those items than I sell a lot of these lower items, because, you know, I'm taking consideration that I am just as likely to want to use these as some random person who's going to buy them. So I'm just going to list them for 2 chaos. If somebody wants to buy it, cool. If not, whatever. I have extra boots if I ever, you know, rip. And that's definitely a thing to consider in a hardcore league. In a standard league, that's not going to be nearly as much of an issue because people just don't die. So these boots will go down in value as the league progresses, while in a hardcore they kind of retain their value. And again, with these 2 boots, you know, they're really good boots. According to the market and what's available and what's similar, I think that the way that I priced them is a little bit more, it's a little bit more beneficial for me. Like, I would sell these instantly if I made these 15 chaos, and if I made these 35 chaos. That would be a good price as a buyer. Like, if I saw these boots and I wanted them, I would think 50 chaos is a little high, but I would probably message the person selling them and try to haggle with them and say like, hey, I'd like to offer you 40 chaos. And at that point, it's on me to, decide, or it's on the seller to decide like, well, are they going to do it? How many messages have you had about them? Like it's a legitimate offer. If somebody messages me and says like, I'll give you 10 chaos for those, I'm going to say no. But if they give me something that is like kind of showing that they're serious about buying them from me, then I'm more likely to do that. I understand that a lot of people don't really like that method of trading. It rubs people the wrong way. But it's honestly like if you start to employ this kind of style of trading where maybe you price things a little bit more than you would actually pay for them, but close to what the market would dictate for them. Because again, like even with these boots right here, let's go back real quick to which search form. See, like even like these boots right here, I would say that these boots are overpriced. But I'm not going to sit there and say that these boots are overpriced, therefore I'm going to make my boots 25 chaos. I'm going to make my boots half of the value of this. No, I'm going to make them probably about 75 to 80% of the value, that even though they're better. So pricing in Path of Exile and trading is definitely, there's a lot of potential for having some really good interaction with people and haggling, but you have to be open to it. And I think you should be open to it from both sides, from the buyer's perspective and the seller's perspective. And again, that's why I want to go through and I want to price things. I want to figure out a way how I could do this kind of video series and update people when items have sold and how much they've sold for. Because for a really long time, I have actually taken pictures, or not pictures, but screenshots of items that I have sold in Path of Exile for how much. And I've shown them to people to give them an idea of what you could get for things. And, usually when I show them to people, they're surprised because it's like, how'd you get that much for that? And it's like, well, just, pay attention. A lot of it does have to do with understanding builds and like, where you want certain stats, but you could just look on poe.trade and get a good idea. So yeah, this video is a little bit longer than I would have preferred, but I just want to potentially help people kind of get a good idea of pricing and how you could figure out the best way to trade in Path of Exile, because it's definitely very powerful once you start doing it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Maybe next time I'll do fewer items so the video isn't nearly as long. Maybe I'll only do 2 or 3 items, but I thought that this was like a good kind of starting point so people could see, a couple different tiers of items. Some like kind of low level, like early mapping items, which would be the first 2 pairs of boots, and then some more like mid to end game items, which would be these boots. And yeah, so thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you later.